everyone, it's Bradley. Welcome back to my channel, Portland Gentlemen. It is great to have you here today. Today's video is pretty exciting for me because I have a brand new Unitank from a relatively unknown or brand new company. That is CF Custom Fermentations. It looks like they have some home brewing tanks and some commercial sized tanks as well. The model I have is the JF8 Cicerone. This tank is one in the line where they already have it pre-built. Before we get all the way into it, I want to throw out there first, you can get a tank from them that is completely custom put together. You can buy just the tank and then add on all the extras. So you have, which is really unique in this space, the option of having a fully customizable Unitank. No one else is doing this to my knowledge. I think it's an interesting edge, and it definitely makes them stand out, at least in my book. Research it, mash it, boil it, ferment it, drink it, analyze it, share it. Home brewing is good. All right, let's take a look at the CF Customs JF8 Cicerone. This is a brand new tank on the market. I think I'm the first one to have it, and we better believe I'm lucky. This has a 3mm thick stainless steel body. It is built like an absolute tank. It is fully polished inside and out. The polish on mine isn't perfect. I'm told this was a prototype unit. I think they used it for photos. It has a 6-inch tri-clamp port on the top, as well as 3.5-inch tri-clamp ports on the sides. Mine is fully spec'd with a pressure gauge, a PRV, a spooning valve, the dry hopping apparatus, as well as a racking port, a 2-inch bottom dump, an 1.5-inch port there on the front for racking, a sampling port, a thermo well, and a sweet carb stone, which just might be titanium, but I don't have that yet on good authority. The thing only has 3 legs, which if you need to move it, this is going to be an issue, but for me, I'm fully clean in place. I don't plan on moving it. It's also heavy, so not something you want to do. It does come with a neoprene jacket. We'll get into the jacket a little later on how it fits, but overall, we just want to take this tank in, look at the ports and all the goodies. I want you guys to have an idea. If you're thinking about this, you've heard about it, what you get. Here's the feet. The way that nut is screwed on there, I've never seen that before. That is interesting to me. Mine was optioned with this bottom sight glass. The only option I don't have is the blow-off cane. It's out of stock. That's one I recommend. I absolutely love blow-off canes. So all in all, this tank is just built like a brick shit house, man. It is robust. Here's the fitment on my jacket. I'm told this will get better. The previous models have already changed, but my jacket it fits poorly at the cone. You're going to have condensation there. You want to fit tight. The nice racking port here, laser etched indications on the dial for open and close. It's always useful. You definitely wouldn't want to spin that by mistake. And the only thing I don't like about the carb stone is I wish it had a gas post on it versus just a barb fitting. But that's an easy upgrade and an easy change. Here's that carb stone, and man, this really to me feels like titanium. I could be wrong. I should probably test it before I make wild claims. I'll get some clarification and maybe drop a comment below, but to my touch and feel and suspicion, titanium is a good option. It doesn't corrode like stainless steel might. You won't see it discolor in that manner. But this tank is it's a centerpiece, guys. It looks really good. I do wish that the zipper had a little more Velcro instead of zippers. The front of it, the polish, like I said, is good. Has a logo laser etched. It's a really nice etching, nice and really burnt in there really well, if you will. It looks the part. It is an absolute beast of a tank, and definitely goes with all my other high-end equipment. The glycol ports for the jacket, the in and out, are located on the back. This is less than ideal if you want to get super close to the wall. On the side would make it easier in that aspect, but it's not the end of the world. The thermo well has a nice length on it. It's the story of my life. You got to have the length. They've included strain relief attachment here. I think it's a really nice touch, and I really wish more companies would do that. The PRV is included as also top quality. Here's a look at some of the welds and finishes on the tank. Their welds are nicer than I could do, but as far as the rest of the industry and the high-end sector, they aren't quite as pretty, but they still look damn good. Here's just some more looks at the polish. and kind of what you can expect. Mine is, I'm told, the worst of what you could expect. There is that top 6-inch port with the adapters getting us to the 2-inch dry hop port. Here's a look at that pressure gauge. It's a nice glycerin-filled gauge, high-quality diaphragm-style gauge. Here is the spooning valve. My only complaint about this is that it doesn't have PSI. It just has bar. I'm trying to learn to grease Play-Doh versus other options out there, and I don't have time in my brain to be able to handle bar. Some of you might, but for me, PSI is something I'm going to stick with versus that reading amount. Next, we're going to look at what really matters, and that is the inside. You can see that weld on the seam there. The inside, the 6-inch opening, might make it harder to polish, but it is pretty well polished. Up at the top, around the top where the two sections of the tank meet together, that weld is also pretty good. It's not bad. I think it's sanitary, definitely still. It's not quite as good as you might find elsewhere, but it definitely works. And again, mine is supposedly as bad as it gets. There's a look at that racking port. All right, guys, so that was kind of the overview of it, the nuts and bolts of it. I didn't go super in detail into the dry hopping and all that. I am going to test this in another set of videos where I use it. I put beer in it, let you know what I think. I can tell you that the cooling performance is extremely good, on par with everything else out there. There's some little kind of pluses and minuses. There's no such thing as a perfect fermenter that I've found, and believe me, I've at this point used literally all of the major unitanks in the game, and I have thoughts and opinions on all of them. Maybe at some point we'll condense that into one video. That would be interesting, that's for sure. But this one, pros and cons, it is super thick. Nothing else is this thick, short of one fermenter that comes to mind. But other than that, it's an absolute tank. As far as ports go, I believe it has has 3 ports on the top, 1.5 inches, and then obviously has ports on the lid, and then it has the body ports. It has 3 additional ports in the body and the 2-inch port. I think it has a total of 6.5 inch ports, and that is just a really tremendous amount. And I'm not counting the racking port because that should be standard. So ports, it really has the perfect amount. I think if you had one more, you might have an extra, which isn't bad, but there's really nothing you don't need, at least in my opinion. And all in all, I really find the dimensions of this to be quite pleasing. Even like I said, it has 3 legs, and because of that 3mm construction, it is quite heavy. But I like it's a little bit slender. I like the look of it, to be honest. Aesthetically, I think it's a really sharp-looking tank, and there's something to be said for that. So be on the lookout for my next video where I put this through its paces, try all of its features, and let you know how it works out in the end. Remember, I've been Bradley. Home brewing is good, and I'll see you real soon.